Hey everyone, I wanted to come in and do this video for you to share with you an exercise that I've been doing my own self to be able to help clear some repetitive patterns that come up and are revealed to us. Hey Rebecca, how are you, love? That are revealed to us, especially at a full moon. Hey Debbie, how are you all? I'm just going to quickly share this across. So as you all know, and for some of you who may not know, the full moon is a time where as the moon reaches its heightened potential of energy, it sheds light into those areas that we place as darkness. Thank you so much, hon. And yet we don't always understand what the message is behind it. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to quickly do this because I'm losing my focus while I'm trying to think of everything to do. So the biggest thing that I find at this time of the year is that, or not this time of the year, whenever we come into a full moon, everyone's emotions get all over the place. So I'd love to hear if that's happening for you. And all of a sudden there's all of these deep emotions that sometimes that are attached to old past pains and come to the surface, and we don't know what to do. We always hear that expression of let it go, surrender, release it to the universe. But what does that actually mean? I mean, we all do that. We think that we do that, and then we find those patterns keep emerging over and over and over again, and then we start to think, hey, something's not working, I'm not doing something right, and we move into the space of feeling really crap about ourselves because we take the time to do these awesome rituals at a full moon because we really do want to see change and create transformation for our world, but we're not sure how. So today I really wanted to come in and share with you this really simple but really powerful exercise that I do my own self at a full moon if I find that I've got repetitive behaviors popping up. So I thought if it works for me, I really want to share that with you all. Hey Naomi, hey Vanessa, hey Noni, Grenville, Jason, Tracy, Jen, Cindy, how is everyone going faring the full moon? So as we know, our intuition always guides us. It's like the GPS to the soul. When the full moon comes up, we have this intensity of emotions, and our emotions trigger off an association to usually a past pain and either a situation, an old way of being. And we get to that stage when a full moon is that we feel this heightened level of emotions, and that deeply connects us to that human part of ourselves, and we forget to remember how to tap into that intuitive part of ourselves that our soul is coming through at these times when the moon is at its fullest, to be able to reveal to us things that need to be let go of. But if we don't know how to come back into that space of deeply connecting with our intuition, sometimes we can just get stuck on the superficial areas. And so therefore, until we grasp the full understanding of what's been revealed to us, those patterns will keep playing out for us. Oh, that's my pleasure, Vanessa. I'm so pleased that you're enjoying this. Hey, Bradley. So, as I was saying, we have this human part of ourselves that wants logic, reason, and understanding. So when we have these intense emotions come up, we attach them to something from our past that comes up, a situation. And if we stay there for too long, we can move into that space of blaming these emotions because of. And that really does disempower us because we forget to remember what is the intuitive message that's been revealed to us. So I want to share with you that our intuition is guiding us every single step of the way in every area of our life. And at these times in a full moon, our intuition is still there working. So how do we learn how to tune into it and be able to use that intuitive guidance to help us really let go of these repetitive patterns? So I'm going to go through this 5 simple step exercise that I do. So if you have a pen and paper, if not, you're more than welcome to come back and listen to the replay to go through this again. So when we have for the very first step, I just want you to write down on a piece of paper what are the emotions or the feelings that have been triggered with this full moon. Just write every single thing. I want you to do this exercise from a space of not judging. come from a place of being really curious, a place where you actually really want to explore and get to the depths of what this stuff is that's coming up for you as an opportunity to transform and change your life. I'm so pleased it's totally relevant for you, Naomi. So as I said, on a piece of paper, step one is just write down every single thing that is emotion that has been triggered for you or feeling. This is how we start to find this beautiful mesh between our human logic and reasoning and our intuition. I'm going to show you how they all mesh together for you. So the very first part, just write down all of the emotions that have been triggered for you. Thank you so much for all the gorgeous hearts and thumbs up, everyone. Now, on the next step, once you've written that down, I want you to just say you've written 3 or 4 emotions that have come up. And I want you to be quite clear on them. I want you anger, frustration, sadness, loneliness, fears. And if you write fears, I want you to be more distinct than that. Fears is a very, very broad spectrum. Are you fearful of success? Are you scared of moving forward? Is that fear triggering a lack of self-belief? Get really clear on what that fear is, because if we go fear, that's a really broad spectrum and it doesn't actually allow us to get into the depths of what that fear really means for you. The next step, number 2, I want you to write out, how are all of these emotions playing out? So let's say, for example, you've got frustration. How is that playing out in your world? Because remember, every emotion that we don't address will play out unconsciously in other areas of our life. So if you've got frustration, we can find that when we are feeling frustration, we cause arguments with our partners. We feel frustrated and start thinking that everything's not working. Frustration can sometimes lead to procrastination. Frustration can move into lack of motivation. Not eating well, is it triggering binge eating? I want you to look at how is that emotion playing out in every part of your world. This is where we start to get really, really honest. Like, I'm a big person of there's no point blowing smoke up our own ass, because nothing great comes from that. It's only when we get to the depths of and being really honest with ourselves do we get to discover the real gold and the real truth of what is being revealed in a full moon. So please just take the opportunity. Don't judge yourself. Just be really honest about how everything this is playing out. Remember, this is your opportunity to write down everything that is occurring for you in a non-judgment place. Don't have to care what anyone else is going to think, because no one else is going to read it beside yourself. But it's important that you're at least truthful and honest to yourself is the number one thing that comes with this exercise. Now, what happens is once you've done step 1 and step 2, these all come from that human logic place. We find reason, we find understanding, where we can find that these 2 steps can trigger off blame, guilt, shame, and these emotions can also deeply attach us to our past experiences, old ways of being, old habits. We start to get some insight into what's really playing out. Now, what can happen is if we get stuck in that space of being so deeply attached to those emotions, we forget to tune into that intuitive guidance. Hey, Kim, how are you, beautiful? And this is where we start bringing the mesh of what this is, because you've got to remember that your soul is revealing these emotions for you as an opportunity for you to transform your past. It's giving you the opportunity to take your own personal power back and step into your own truth. So everything that you write, the only person it's going to matter to is you. And if you really do want that transformation, if you really want to break these repetitive patterns, it's so paramount that you're really honest with yourself here. Now, what happens is once you've gone through these steps, and you'll be able to see how some of these patterns will have been playing out anywhere up to maybe the last week, and in some cases 2 weeks beforehand. Starting to see these patterns emerging, starting to see these emotions that are coming up, feeling them in our body. What happens now is in step 3, I want you to look at discovering your truth. Now, what that means is when I'm going to use the example that I used before, if we are frustrated, we start seeing that play out in lots of different ways in our whole life. I love doing a brain dump on paper, so powerful. So that's so cool, Tracy. And it really, the beautiful thing about writing things down is that you are actually honoring how you feel. You're actually giving yourself permission to tap into the truth, not get caught up in the emotional triggers. Okay, so as I said, discovering our truth. Let's use the example of frustrated, and we start discovering that we're frustrated ourselves, we're frustrated at life, we're frustrated and creating arguments with ourselves. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take one step up. And by accessing your truth, ask yourself, what is at the depth of that frustration? It can come back to things like not believing in yourself. It can come back to not believing in yourself, not trusting yourself, not confident in yourself, not feeling loved, not feeling supported. Now, this is where your truth is. That is what has been revealed to you in the full moon. This is what your soul has been wanting you to get to at the whole heightened point of this full moon, is for you to come to your soulful truth so that you can intuitively feel into what is coming through and acknowledge that this is your own truth. Our intuition and our soul is always guiding us to be able to look at what is actually really playing out. Don't get caught up on the superficial things that are in step 1 and step 2. They're the superficial things. They're our human mind that wants to get stuck here, that wants to go into blame, shame, guilt, and hold us in these really low vibing, deep, intense emotions. And then we get stuck there and we forget how to tune into that intuition to get that transformation. All we find is that come next month with the next moon, the next full moon, we're just rehashing the same old crap and never feeling like we're actually really taking the opportunity to transform and take all of the lessons that our soul is revealing to us at this point. So discovering your truth is your soulful message that has been intuitively giving you those opportunities that you've been playing out in your world. And for you that have also been coming through on those emotions, it's just taken you a few steps to come down to then be able to take a step back up, to be able to discover what the real truth is. This in itself is so incredibly powerful, because in this moment, once you discover your truth, change can actually really start occurring on a very, very powerful level, because we understand what our truth is. We understand what our frustration is. And this is where we can create rapid change. So step number 4 is thinking about what are all the things that you can do differently for yourself that is going to change that repetition of behavior. So if you've discovered, say, example, frustration, playing it out, we take one step up and we realize that it could show that you're not believing in yourself. Step number 4 is working out what are the steps that you can do to start believing in yourself. What change needs to occur for you to start believing in yourself? This is where the transformation occurs, is in step 3 and 4. But don't forget, you need to be able to go through step 1 and 2 to be able to connect into that intuition. Your intuition at this point, when you ask yourself the question, what can I do to strengthen, insert whatever it is that's your own truth, feel into what comes up. You would have already found that your intuition would have been guiding you anyway. You would have been noticing that you start thinking to yourself, oh, I need to maybe stop drinking so much, or maybe I want to start exercising, or, all of a sudden, like, I want to start moving, I want to start joining different groups, I want to go and study. And then the universe has been working to co-create with that by bringing and revealing in signs and synchronicities. All of a sudden, say you want to do exercise, all of a sudden you'll find your Facebook feed starts getting flooded with, join this group and exercise this, to share with you that these are all intuitive guidance that is leading you to be able to find the steps that's going to help you transform your life. This is where, when we start understanding how our intuition is sending us all of these soulful messages, these wonderful insights and little droplets of wisdom, then we can understand to how to really deeply connect with our intuition at a full moon. Step number 5 is really simple. Focus on building the new. This is where the gold set is. As you hear, transformation is all about taking inspired action. Once you've written down all the things that you know that are going to help strengthen whatever your truth is, it's a matter of taking action. Only focus on what you need to do to install this new behavior, to be able to break that cycle of repetitive patterns. Now, I understand, and I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass and say, all of a sudden, once you've done this, shit's just going to be awesome. You're going to walk out peace, love, and mung beans, and everything's going to be peachy cream, and everything's just going to fall into amazing alignment. If that was the case, we'd all be making transformation on rapid change just like that. The rapid change comes by committing to taking those tiny steps every single day, committing to how important is it for you to stay connected to your truth, how important it is for you to stay connected to that intuitive guidance that is always letting you know that this is the right step to help you up level to that next level version of yourself. Now, when we make these new radical changes, it's going to trigger off, and you're still going to have those old thoughts, those old emotions. Now, today I posted up a blog on a thing called a soul emergence ritual. This is specifically designed to help you in those periods when you are making transformation and breaking that cycle of repetitive pattern, to understand that those old thoughts are still going to come up for a short period of time. You have installed them into your brain for a really long time, so they're not just going to go away overnight. You need to be able to replace them with more powerful thoughts, but you need to be able to honor and validate those crappy old ones and squash them very, very quickly. So the soul emergence ritual is all about learning how to take your personal power back when those thoughts, those lower vibrating thoughts come into your mind, how to do something that's incredibly symbolic to be able to squash those old thoughts and reinstall beautiful new habits so you can continue on focusing on building the new. These 5 powerful steps are a really great way in which to be able to learn how to be able to tune into your intuition, how to find that gorgeous mesh between your intuitive soul self and that human part of yourself, not just allowing your thoughts or your emotions to overtake you and get stuck in the past. Nothing great is generated from there. Transformation occurs when we learn to do something different, when we discover how to tap into our own truth, to be able to own that truth, to really acknowledge the power behind what it's like when you actually deeply connect to the truth of what is being revealed at a full moon, and then having the power to know what is the things that I can do to continue this transformation so I can move to that next level and stay in alignment with my own self. These are the 5 single steps that I love doing, and I really wanted to come in and share them with you because I see so many people struggling at this time whenever full moons come up. And so this is my 5 steps to be able to help you learn how to tune into your intuition so that you can let go of those repetitive patterns and discover a real new soulful you. So I hope this all gives you all something incredibly powerful that you can take away. Do out tonight, even though tonight is the full moon. Even if you go through this exercise, what you can do is, once you're finished, if you want to do something even more symbolic, is the answers, the questions and the answers that you wrote to step 1 and step 2, you could quite easily rip those off your sheet of paper that you've written them down on and take them outside and burn them underneath the full moon. Now, even though the full moon is tonight, you still can do this exercise for the next few more days and still know that you are tapping into the potent energy of with the full moon. So I hope this all gives you something incredibly powerful to be able to take away, to be able to deeply connect with yourself and learn how to strengthen that intuitive guidance that is always coming through to offer you support, wisdom, and guidance to help you stay in alignment with your own truth, and so that you can live that life that you've always dreamed of, which has been truthful to yourself. And all of that comes from understanding and discovering what your truth has been revealed in a full moon. So much love to you all. Take care. Have a fabulous full moon, and I'd love to hear how you all go when you do this exercise. So much love to you all.